The average age of a member of the House of Representatives is 58.4 years old. The average age of a United States Senator is 64.3 years old. Meanwhile, we have three men, the three frontrunners for President of the United States, who are all over 70-year-old, and the average age of the average American voter is 38 years old. 38 years old. So the average congressperson is 20 years older than the average American. Over in the Senate, 26 years older than the average American. And then, by God, once you get to the presidential candidates, 32 years older than the average American. That leads me to my next question here. This is from HockeyFan124, who asks, if you could set a maximum age for running for office, what would you consider the age to be? And now that's a weird question. I'm not saying the question you asked is weird. The emotions that it brings in me is what's weird. Because to be honest, I do think we have an aging electorate, or not electorate, excuse me, an aging ruling class that definitely needs to get the hell out of office. But at the same time, I don't think we should have age limits. You know, when we look back at that hearing recently with Dr. Anthony Fauci, that dude's in his 80s. Are you going to tell me that because he's in his 80s, what is he, like 84, I think, that he's somehow too old to do his job? No, that dude is sharp as a tack. I mean, Bernie Sanders is in his 80s. You listen to him speak, you see his energy. He hasn't lost a step at all. You know, other politicians in their 80s definitely have. Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, even Biden to a degree, Donald Trump, definitely. So just because somebody is older does not mean we should put age limits on there, because we do have a problem with the ages of some of these folks, absolutely. But you solve that not with age limits, but with term limits. Because I think capping somebody's age is not okay. That is a form of age discrimination, and we shouldn't do that. What we should do is the term limits. Mitch McConnell has been in the United States Senate since I was 2 years old. I'm 41. I was 2 years old when Mitch McConnell went to the Senate. I wasn't much older than that when Nancy Pelosi went to the House of Representatives. Same thing, of course, with the late Dianne Feinstein. You know, same thing with Joe Biden. Like, we've got people who go to Washington, D.C. They come from either safe districts or safe states where they can keep winning over and over until they choose not to win. That's not okay. We need term limits. And I'll tell you, one of the people who has actually pushed for this the hardest is Ted Cruz. It's about the only issue I agree with Ted Cruz on. But we need these term limits. And by the way, not just for the House and Senate. And of course, we have them for the White House already. We need them for the courts. There are judges, and I confirmed this last week doing research for another piece. There are still judges sitting on a bench today that were appointed by Jimmy Carter. There is one judge that is technically on a panel, but is no longer hearing cases or deciding cases, but still technically an active member, appointed by Gerald Ford. No, I am sorry. That's not okay. Under no circumstances should anybody be sitting on a federal bench for 45 years. That is insanity, folks. That is insanity. So it's not that we need age limits. It's that we need term limits. Now, I will say it does bother me, of course, that the average age of the politicians is so much more than the average age of the voters. We need younger people. We need smarter people. But until we can get that, I think at the very least, we should put some term limits in place.